on these walls, a lot of things about working outside of our own little group of atheists, learning from other groups, working with other groups, cooperation, and that sort of thing. So our first speaker is Evan Clark. I have fond memories of Evan. The very first day I worked for the Secular Student Alliance as a campus organizer. I had an email from Evan saying, "Stickers are great, can I get more of them?" And I kind of said, "August, this guy's asking for stickers, can you help him?" And since then, I think we've sent Evan maybe 400 stickers, and his group is doing great. He is the founder and leader of the Secular Student Alliance at California Lutheran University, which is our only affiliate at a parochial school right now. And his group has taken a really interesting approach that I haven't seen in many other groups. I'm not going to spoil anything by telling you about it, because that's what he's here to do. So please welcome Evan Clark.
Can everyone hear me in the back? Okay. Can we get a round of applause for Lucy again? Because I love her speech. She spoke very well to a lot of the core beliefs we have at the Secular Student Alliance at California Lutheran University. We work a lot with religious organizations. So I titled this "Oh, We're Secular," and it goes on further if you check your packet. But we do cooperate a lot with religious groups. We really specialize in communicating with them and participating with them. And I want to talk about that. But before we start, I like for you to get to know me first. I'm all about introductions, and I don't want to be just some stranger up here. So let's start with me. So this is your question. And I'm the president and founder of the Secular Student Alliance at California Lutheran University. This is our primary statue on campus. It kind of looks like a big happy humanist, but what you don't know, it actually symbolizes the enormous impact Martin Luther had on the church back in the day. It's about 20 feet tall, weighs 5,000 pounds, and it's, I'm pretty sure, cast iron. It's our one statue on campus. We have a lot of pride about it. And I actually put his head on the top of our logo, so it confuses all the atheist groups, but they think he's humanist, and I love tricking them. But, so I have a lot to tell you. I have a lot of stories. We've had some amazing experiences. We only got started 2 years ago, but I'll get into all that. But you need to know more about me. So, let's get into my childhood. This is me. I'm from Massachusetts, so I grew up about an hour outside of Boston. Small town called Harvard, Massachusetts. No, it's nowhere near the college. My mother was a Catholic. My father was, I would describe as secular. Very loving family. Never had a problem expressing my beliefs. They never had a problem expressing their beliefs. But if you know anything about New England, and Massachusetts specifically, it's a Catholic area. My grandparents were Catholic, and the rest of my family was generally Catholic. So they believe the best education you're going to get is in a nice Catholic school. So first grade, I attended Catholic school. I think that's actually a picture from the school. I was cute. And, okay, they didn't carry guns. They were not crazy at all, to be honest. But the classes were taught by nuns. It basically was like going to your CCD or Sunday school every single day. I knew the Stations of the Cross like the back of my hand in first grade. And the toughest part, though, was Latin Mass. I went to Latin Mass every single morning in first grade. And so I went home after about the first half of the year, and I go, "Mom, I never want to go to church again. I'm sick of it. I don't believe it. I think it's crazy." Something else was happening in my life. I was learning about math and science at the same time. I was definitely getting really excited about the way the world fit together very nicely, and it just didn't fit with the beliefs I was being taught at Catholic school. And so it began. I'm an atheist, so an atheist. And so I told my mom, "All right, I never want to go to church again." And she looks at me and she goes, "I'll make a deal with you. If you complete your first communion, then I'll let you choose if you ever want to go to church again or not." And I said, "Deal." Oh my God. So, this is me getting first communion. I pushed it back a year because I fought so hard. But since Joe is the name we're going to give to everyone we can't think of today, that's Father Joe. And that's me carrying the cross in. I was the tallest kid that year, so I got to carry the cross in right up front. Good old I don't believe kid leading the charge. But and this was my break from the church. So after this, I did not go to church again. I really I really avoided it at all costs. I totally took a different direction with my life, and I was very happy with it. It never came up with my group of friends. I was in a very high education area, and church was never the first thing. We had 3 churches in my small town, but it was never like you were defined by your faith or by your religion. And so this is who I became, the space geek. And like many of you might have been or still are, if you're doubting how much of a space geek I was, my first screen name was Space Freak 777. And that picture on the right is actually me on Halloween. So, but yeah, and so I grew up. I grew up in a great community, very privileged household, loving parents, and I never had problems with being an atheist. I never had problems with having to explain who I was. And I grew out of my space phase, even though it's still a dream of mine to go to space before I die. It will happen. But you know, I wound up giving up the spacesuit, and I became the mascot at my school instead. And, but then years later, I started looking at colleges. That's what you do when you're from a really highly educated area. And I found this school, California Lutheran University. It's in Thousand Oaks, California. It's about an hour north of LA, about 30 minutes inland of Malibu. That's what I like to tell my friends. And it's a Lutheran school. It's affiliated with the ELCA, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America. And when I was looking at schools, I only looked in Southern California. I'm from Boston, and I'm sick of the snow. So I told my parents, I'm going west, I'm going south. And I looked at about 5 or 6 schools, and I put this one on my list because it was small, it was liberal arts, thought I could play tennis for them, and I'm like, no, this is going to be weird, I'm not going to like it. I get on campus, I fall in love, literally, love story. And the thing was, it was so accepted. I never felt like there was a problem with having my belief, my lack of belief at this place. And I apply early, I get right in, they give me lots of money, love lots of money. And there I am. I'm now a student at California Lutheran University, and I got my plane ticket ready to go, and then this happens. I get a message from a guy named Sam Levitro. Now, if you check the date on this, August 18, 2007, so we're 2 weeks before new student orientation, and I'll read it to you, so you don't have to read it. And I get this message, so I'll read it to you. My name is Sam. I'm going to be a freshman at CLU. Looking forward to it. In Peterson. That's a residence hall. Anyways, the reason I'm writing you, I filtered the search for 2011 CLU people, and it was all 2011 CLU girls and guys. The only thing I put on it was people whose religious views were atheist or agnostic. You were the only one to come up. Sorry if this is really forward, but I think that's cool, and I'm way excited for college. Don't really know what to expect going to a religious school. Anyways, thought maybe we have something to talk about. Sam, 2 thoughts pop into my head. 1, I'm the first stalker of my life. 2, what if I am the only atheist at this school? Like, I really, really felt like I connected with the school, I'm going to fit right in, not going to have any problems. And then this guy shoots me a message, and he goes, you are the only one that's going to be the atheist here, that proudly puts it on your Facebook, because that's how you define yourself nowadays. And I brush it off, but years down the road, actually later that year, he's actually the vice president of our club now. But he didn't have the girlfriend back then, so the picture, he was much scarier with me. But anyways, it's so funny how things changed, and definitely grew out of that. And so then we're starting our club. So around the time of the Prop 8 rallies, if many of you from California understood what was happening then, there was a lot of communication about people's problems with religion. A lot of my friends who were religious were really expressing their problems with how these people can base what they're making their political claims off of religious doctrine, how these things just don't match up, it's inconsistent. And so people started questioning their faith, a lot of them. And myself, I was always an atheist. I haven't questioned my atheism since 1st grade. But seeing all these people question and meeting more and more atheists, like they're popping out of the woodworks, they're not Facebook officials, but I started, you know what, I think I can organize a group. I'm a freshman, I'm involved, I think I can do this. And so I shoot an email to the Secular Student Alliance. They shoot me back, group starting packet, they start a Facebook, which I didn't want them to do, but they did it anyways. We started a Facebook event and a Facebook group, and there you go, we got started. Out of nowhere, I started having, I got about 15 kids at our first meeting. We had a meeting that lasted 3.5 hours. We just sat and talked. You'd be so surprised what people have to say when they're questioning or when they have stories from their childhood about where they are. And you know what? We got a few religious people. And that was probably the most exciting part. There was people that didn't necessarily believe everything you believe, but they wanted to listen to you. And that started off immediately, our core value of wanting to listen to them. How if they want to come and sit down on a meeting where we just created a community for atheists and agnostics, and they want to listen to us, we need to learn from them as well. And so it began. We also, to become a club, I think you had to bring Dan Barker to your campus. We brought Dan Barker, and this was actually one of the greatest learning experiences for us, because Dan Barker, if you know anything about his history, he was an evangelical pastor, reverend pastor, whatever you want to call it, and he was very, very conservative, very strong in his beliefs, and is now one of the leading atheists in America. But his story, he doesn't hate religion, and he totally understands where people come from. He knows how people can speak in tongues. He sits there and he doesn't go, "You're crazy." He goes, "I have a totally different belief. While mine may be based on reason, it's different, and I respect you for that." And we love that image. We're on a Lutheran campus. We can't ignore religion. We have to take a religion class. We have pastors walking around the campus. We have a church that people go to regularly. Like, we are a minority on our campus. And frankly, for all of you, we're a minority in this world. So we took everything he said to heart, and we decided we kind of want to change our mission. We want to learn more about religion. We, based on our discussions, we were learning so quickly about how valuable education was, how much we're getting from these deep conversations, from these, looking back for our histories, we had Lutherans, we had Methodists, we had me being pretty much an atheist my whole life. We had such different perspectives, but we're not actually communicating with people that have totally different views than us. And what better way to communicate with them by going to see what they did? So these were our first encounters. We're deciding if we're going to go as a community of atheists and agnostics, skeptics and questioning people, let's go to some places that will accept us first. So we tried out Unitarian Universalists. If you've ever been to one of those before, I promise they probably have at least one atheist already there anyway. They're great people, and they loved our presence. And we eventually went to a Methodist group, a very liberal Methodist group, and then a Lutheran. We got good connections with the Lutherans, let us tell you. And a Quaker group. We found out there's a Quaker worship that was on our campus every other Sunday. In this building, this is our humanities building, and they set up in a classroom, and they put 20 chairs in a circle, and they sit in worship and it's basically meditation for an hour. So what I did is I organized a bunch of students. I'm like, okay, we're gonna go, we're gonna be respectful, we're gonna participate, because that's how we go about all these things. We go in and we participate, just like that. We sit there, we stand, we sit, we read, we sing, and the Quaker worship was very different. We come in with 8 people. There's only 6 people there, so we already outnumber them. And we didn't try to be like, hey, we're an atheist group. We're just a bunch of students. We're here to learn. We walk in, we sit down, and they go, okay, the service begins. Dead silence, 45 minutes. Okay, now an hour. It was good for some people. I can't sit there for an hour. But it was one of those experiences. And then everyone came up to us, and they made sure they talked to every single one of us. What brought you here? What brought you out? Why do you want to come to this? And we actually opened up. We were like, you know what, we're a secular club. We're a bunch of atheists and agnostics. And they were like, that's so much cooler. You'd be surprised. If you show that you want to be open and learn from other people, they'll want to learn from you. How do we remove a stigma for atheism? You have people want to learn from you. If a crazy Christian came up to you and said, hey, I want to know what you believe in a respectful manner, you'll communicate with them. You'll have a talk with them. Now if he comes up to you and goes, you're crazy, you're going to look at him and go, you're crazy, right? And that's where we clash. That's where the problem's up. And so we need to remove those, and I think that's where we've had our most success. And so then we found this. This is a group called Ravens Cry Grove. They're a neo-pagan Druid fellowship in Ventura County. So one of our members finds them online and goes, hey, let's go to this. And so naturally everybody goes, I don't know. It's kind of, and all those preconceived notions, like, oh my God, we're going to have to sacrifice someone, and what's it going to be? And Imbolc was the ritual. They were, this is the flyer from this year, but you can get the idea. And basically, Imbolc is a Celtic tradition for the birthday of the goddess Bridget. And she, and they have a whole ritual, and we found out it was a few blocks from our school. It was down the street, basically. And so we got a group of students together. We had probably 8 or 9 kids, and we showed up. And of course, they had to put it down this like dark, dreary alley in the middle of the night. It's like 7:30 at night. And we show up, and there's people in white robes. And we're like, oh no. Not hooded though, just white robes. And you know what? These were the most accepting people. These were more accepting than the Quakers. Talk about excited to see students. Because these are people that are stigmatized just as bad as we are. They go through their everyday life and cannot talk about their faith. Atheism, while it may be stigmatized, it's also respected in a lot of communities. This is definitely not. And so that was also a huge turning point for our club. We got this huge eye-opening experience of how there's people so often in religious organizations that deal with the same exact things that we do. We have similarities. We're not all different. No matter how crazy our beliefs or their beliefs might be, we definitely have similarities, and we need to communicate. And so we went, we experienced the whole thing. This guy's Mike, he was the main leader, he ran the ritual. We opened a portal to the underworld. We gave offerings to the Earth Mother and fire and our ancestors, and we threw whiskey in the grass as offerings to Dagda, the great. I won't get into it, but but I can proudly say I've danced with pagans. Part of the ritual. Won't get into it again. And so and we just continued. We're like, oh, this is such a great experience. Let's dig a little bit deeper. We found a local non-denominational group in Simi Valley. If you know anything about that area, it's kind of a conservative area. And if you know anything about the non-denominational groups in Simi Valley, they're even more conservative. And so we were like, all right, we'll take a little bit further of a step. We'll see how we're accepted here. And you know what? 20 CLU students there. We were shocked. We were like, I didn't know you went there. There was alumni. My RA from freshman year was there. And again, it was, hey, awesome, come hang out with us. And a lot of them knew we were atheists. But we didn't walk in going, I think we should burn this place down. We walked in going, I want to know what you believe. Let's talk about this. Let's just I want to see what your service is like. That's it. I want to see the guy that you listen to every week and think has the best speaking voice in the world, that communicates with God. I want to hear that rather than tell you you're crazy. And while you might hold that feeling in the back of your mind, we were able to communicate with them. And a few of the CLU students actually wound up coming to our meeting that week. They came to talk to us about it. And something about our meetings I didn't mention, since that 3.5-hour meeting, we still haven't had a meeting under 2 hours. It's been 2 years now. Our discussions are epic. And it's all about open-ended questions and respect everyone for no matter what they say. And so we kept going with this. We went to a Buddhist temple down in LA. This is in Chinatown. I think, this is weird in LA, I think Little Tokyo is a part of Chinatown. But, and so we went to a Buddhist temple. You can't see it, surrounded by skyscrapers. It's kind of sad. No one can find it. But a beautiful little temple. Again, and we're so happy to have students. You're at a perfect opportunity right now with students to connect with these people because they look at you as learning people. You haven't made up all your decisions in life yet, and you're someone that can help remove their stigmas in a lot of ways. Buddhism is not popular in America. They're looking for people to understand it. We go to a private school. We have a big budget. And we're like, all right, we're getting really good at these religious visits. What should we do next? Let's go on a field trip. So we get together and we're talking one meeting. What's the craziest thing we can do? Let's go find a mega church. That'd be fun, right? And we've had a Christian that's been in our group for all year now, and she gets all excited. No, you should come to my church down in San Diego. And we're like, okay, cool. And so she lives in Encinitas, and so I call it our faith and reason trip. But we also decided to keep it kind of secular at the same time. So our first day we went to the Museum of Man down in Balboa Park, and these are some pictures from it. We hung out, we saw IMAX. The club paid for the entire thing, so it's easy to get kids. We brought about 10 kids. And again, like, have fun with these things. I think you said it best. It's really, as much as we can be talkers and intellectuals and elitists, like, have some fun. There's so many ways you can communicate your beliefs and have discussions without being stubborn about it. So this was our reason day, and then the next day was our religious day. So this was our church. This is our Lutheran church down in Encinitas. Very nice church, very open. We all had to stand up. They introduced us to the congregation, and we got to be like, we're the secular club. And they were really excited. And we sat around and we talked to the lead pastor for about an hour and a half afterwards. And again, like, she was so excited. And you know what? She spoke to us in a secular way, which made us happy and also blew our mind too. We were expecting to talk about such a, like, the faith that she believes in, or like where her religious views came from, or seminary. And she started explaining, like, the internal struggles of the ELCA because of their recent decision to add gay clergy. Like, we can all speak on secular terms, and so we just need to find ways to do that. Then our second part of that day, we went to the Mormon temple there. If you've ever been there, you can't go inside unless you're Mormon, but we hung out. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. If you've ever seen it. This guy came out and talked to us for a bit. He gave us a paper PowerPoint. Very fun. That's what he called it. And Nick is clearly accepting what he's saying. And yeah, I love this. That's actually their baptismal font. And we hung out, and again, have some fun. We preached a little outside. These are kind of funny. It's Spanish too. We got the Spanish version, so I'll leave it with them on. Hopefully the cameras didn't catch us there. And again, have fun. And you know, if you did this and they saw us, they probably didn't care. You know, they respect that we're there. As long as we're not making fun of them. So ignore the last one. As long as you're not making fun of them, you're able to communicate and you can talk to them. So use that. And then this was the Rock. That's the name of the megachurch we went to. Holds 3,000 people. Felt like I was going to a concert. Very exciting. They have about, I forget how many people, was it 1,500? 13,000 people go through here a day because they have 10 services. Absolutely massive. They got swivel cameras all over the place. I think it's awesome. And again, just amazing experiences. 2 weeks ago, we went to Sikh Gurdwara. One of the religion professors at our university is a practicing Sikh, and he brought us to his local congregation in Canoga Park. What was amazing about this was it was so culturally emergent. They didn't speak English the whole time. But again, they were so excited to have us. And then again, we went back to see the pagans this year. So just to wrap things up, ask yourself, what have you experienced? Because we've experienced every single thing up here. And our goals for this semester are Hindu, Scientology, and Satanism. And we're going to do it. And I encourage you all to do the same. So thank you. If anyone has any questions, please. Yeah, go ahead.
I really appreciate your efforts to engage. That's something we can all appreciate. Do you have anybody on that side try and proselytize or sort of question your beliefs in any way? Are you listening to them?
Not so much, because we came as learning, and so it was more like teaching. We came as students at like asking the questions rather than going like, I need faith, you know. And in a lot of instances, we did say outright, you know, we are a secular group or we are atheists. And because we came asking questions, they respected us and our beliefs. And they removed the proselytizing part because they knew we already had an idea. And so it was kind of like, come to it on your own. And
Aren't you afraid of death?
now, we run into that more with groups on campus. But yeah.
you look much better without your hat. And two, how do you bring sort of the humanist agenda to religious people? Have you made an attempt to do that? Have you had seminars or discussions on Cal Lu's campus or elsewhere where, you know, beyond having Dan Barker?
Yeah.
Is there more of a dialogue going, or is it just kind of we become better secularists by knowing the religion that surrounds us?
The most positive way we've done it is we're helping remove the stigma of atheism. By connecting with these people, we're able to no longer be crazy atheists or militant atheists. We're people that are willing to learn but have our own beliefs. And so that's been probably the most productive way. At the same time, we do on-campus events. We brought Bobby Kirkhart from Atheist United. She spoke about atheist morality. We brought Dan Barker, and we're looking to bring more speakers in the future. But our connection with religious groups has been so successful, and we are still so young. It's only been 2 years that's been our main focus.
You did the Ask an Atheist panel.
Oh yeah, we did a Ask an Atheist panel. So.
How often do you guys meet? Every week?
Yeah, we do weekly meetings, and for a small school, we're one of the only clubs that does that.
Yeah.
But we've created a community for atheists and agnostics, so it's been really successful. You know, we need stuff to do on Sundays too. Yeah.
So Bertrand Russell had this famous essay where he compared Catholic non-believers that had been converted from Catholicism and Protestant non-believers. And he argued that it's somewhat less angry amongst the Protestant non-believers because, well, they come from a tradition that already rebelled from one church, and so maybe atheism is just another rebellion. And I'm curious if you have any sense of that being at a Lutheran college, there's already a sense of, oh, we're supposed to be questioning things, we're supposed to be rebelling to some degree, and that kind of helps with your
I think that's what's been so beautiful about our campus. It's right in our mission statement, faith and reason, the search for faith and reason, and it's constantly put forward by both the religious and non-religious groups about the questioning and the ability to question. And so we argue we're actually furthering the tradition of Lutheran higher learning with what we're doing, even though we do it in a secular perspective. And so I would agree with you that it probably has been made a lot easier because we are Lutheran and all this. Thank you guys.